COVID-19 has exposed many challenges for people who rely on regular medical care and ongoing support. For families with what are known as medically fragile children, that's been tough for both patients and caregivers. Mary Baxter covers the southwestern part of the province for Ontario Hubs, and she joins us now from London. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Diane. It's good to be here.
Now, before we start, let's get an idea of exactly what type of care these children require. When is a child medically fragile? A medically fragile child has one or more chronic and significant health conditions that require 24-hour care. That care usually involves family members and daily visits from a healthcare professional, such as a nurse or a personal support worker. Often these children are unable to care for themselves and need help with basic activities such as bathing and feeding. Some require special equipment, such as a ventilator or feeding tube, to stay alive. Caring for a medically fragile child is physically and emotionally demanding, requiring continuous coordination among educators, medical staff, and families. In 2019, the province provided special respite funding to 2,800 families with children who are medically fragile or technologically dependent. So now that we know the basics, Mary, you spoke to one family who had their child services interrupted by the pandemic. Tell us about that.
Landon Snyder is 12 years old. He lives in London with his mom and his sister. Landon has a number of challenges. He's developmentally delayed. He has a chronic lung disease, and he also has a seizure disorder. So when the pandemic first started, Landon actually had a lot of care because his family was going through many different upheavals at the same time. His mom has had kidney disease and had an operation, a transplant in July, and then his stepdad actually died in June. So suddenly, though, in June, Landon was sent home. Now, he came home with some supports as well, about 30 hours a week of 30 hours a week of supports. And then his mom kind of used her money to be able to bump that up to about 40 hours a week, and also some government funding as well. But she's in no condition to look after Landon even now because she's still recuperating from her operation. She can't lift him, for instance, so she can't do a lot of the physical care that he needs. And she's getting increasingly desperate. She can't send him to school because he's too susceptible to the virus, to its worst effects, as is she. So they've been there in their small condominium for months on end now with not enough help.
Now, for your latest for TVA.org, you spoke to a number of families and service providers about this service. Now, what are the main challenges when these services are not available? You alluded to that with the first story, but what did the other families and service centers have to say?
Parents are burning out. They're looking after their kids 24 hours. One family I spoke to, also in London, their daughter had a heart condition that she had to have an operation. And similar to Landon's story, she had support initially in the pandemic. But then the family, as she started to recover and she got back to her usual routine, she still had support, but the family had decided to tell the personal support workers that they couldn't come anymore because they were too afraid that their daughter might catch the virus. They also have another family who's susceptible. So all of a sudden, they were doing 24-hour care where throughout all of their daughter's life, they've had help. She needs to be fed during the night. She needs someone to monitor her. Usually there was someone in looking after that. They no longer have that anymore. Clinics, medical clinics that she needs to go to, they're closed.
I'm curious how funding allocations have either helped or hindered families in this.
Well, some families tell me that they can't spend enough of the government money that they receive because they can't hire in help because they're too concerned about catching the virus. Other families, such as Landon's families, find that they're spending all sorts of money because they can't send their kids to school. So Landon's mom is worried that at the end of this year, she's not going to have enough money to get her through until the next government funding comes through, which is in late March, beginning of April.
As you mentioned, these respite centers and families rely on government funding. What does the government have to say about it?
Well, the a lot of the funding for the kids comes through the Ministry of Children, Community, and Social Services, and that ministry says that they have been stepping up in many different ways. First off, they can't comment on individual cases, but they do reassure parents that funding that is allocated in one year isn't based on what might their funding might be in a previous year. So that might be of some help to parents. They've also been a bit more lenient on who people can hire in to help with their kids. So, for instance, family members or a neighbor could come in and help, which is something that was never before. So there have been some initiatives that they've introduced.
I imagine you've had some fairly emotional phone calls putting this story together. I am curious, is there anyone advocating for these children, communities, and families?
Well, they would fall under the larger umbrella of advocates for people who live with disabilities.
Mhm.
But a lot of these parents are so busy looking after their children. It's so very hard for them to organize. There has been some organization, for instance, here in London, parents got together to coordinate developing a respite facility quite a few years ago now. NDP critic of community and social services is Lisa Gretzky, and she tells me that what's really needed is for the province to say, okay, these services are essential for parents, especially respite care, which right now isn't considered essential, and then put the money behind it. And then also, as more generally, with the challenges that we're dealing with home and community care services, more needs to be done to support PSWs, giving them better wages and more job security.
Now, Mary, a lot of these families have been facing these restrictions early on in the pandemic. We're talking March and April. But how are these families getting by, and are there any solutions?
Some of these families, if they're able, are sending their kids back to school.
Hmm.
And I had the chance to visit Clark Road Secondary School's developmental center here in London and to see the variety of programs they offer. But even there's challenges. They have to cut back because of safety precautions because of COVID-19. So there's a warm water pool that they have and where they conduct physiotherapy for a lot of these kids, but they're not able to operate that. And they've even had to turn the room over to sanitize a lot of the kids' equipment.
Mary Baxter, I want to thank you so much. Again, another very important story. That's Mary Baxter, Ontario Hub journalist covering Southwestern Ontario. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. CPA Ontario is a regulator, an educator, a thought leader, and an advocate. We protect the public. We advance our profession. We guide our CPAs. We are CPA Ontario. And by viewers like you. Thank you.